Hello YouTube, this is Bowtied Media, and today I have a review of Petit Biscuit's Parachute album. Petit Biscuit is a French DJ slash producer that is mainly known for his atmospheric and feel-good kind of chill electronic vibes. He's most notably known for his song Sunset Lover, which is very, very popular. His tracks are often staples for playlists on the beach and or just to chill. But after the success of his debut album in 2017, Presence, he's back with his sophomore project, Parachute. While Presence was mainly an atmospheric EDM project, this album, Parachute, is significantly more upbeat, energetic, and has actually a lot more vocals than anything he's ever really put out in an individual project. And you can pretty easily recognize the tonal shift right away in the first couple seconds of the first track. For the first and title track, Parachute, Petit Biscuit uses a lot of production styles and tricks that are very reminiscent of Flume. There is this muted bass line and trappy feel with triplets that make the song feel like it is a Flume project. It's a track that has a lot of trap influence but mainly resides in the future-based genre. And this song is all about, well, falling from an airplane. While I do love that Petit Biscuit is using a lot more lyricism in his tracks and not just creating atmospheric music, each have their own purpose, I feel like the lyrics here are pretty shallow. And that comes often, I think, with EDM producers that mainly do music and aren't necessarily writers. It's not necessarily a bad thing, and the music is supposed to be upbeat, kind of feel good, so it doesn't necessarily need to be the best lyrics in the world. The next track, Burnin', is about the inability to express love and has this groovy, funky bass line to it that sounds a lot like Tom Misk does. It's a nice little indie dance track that is a pretty big switch up stylistically from anything he's done before. To me, these first two tracks really solidified that Petit Biscuit is going for a more poppy, commercial-friendly approach. The stuff that's more upbeat rather than his kind of atmospheric, laid-back music like Presence was. Pick Your Battles, the third track, has a Diplo feature in it, and might I say, Diplo feels like he is all over the place this year. Major Lazer album, an individual album, his Tom Wesley album, so much more of just it producing help on other tracks like Joji's stuff with Daylight. I just feel like he is all over the place in terms of the EDM industry this year, which is, I guess, a good thing, even though all those albums weren't rated great. It's a relatively minimalistic track that has a pretty good background to it, and I'd say it does sound like you're adventuring through a jungle or desert with this track, and has a great feel to it. I think this is the best mesh of his older and newer styles, of the more atmospheric Presence and the more newer upbeat Parachute. I don't necessarily disagree with any song on this project except for Take Cover. Take Cover is kind of as it sounds. It's about taking cover from either a war or hiding from someone or bombs or stuff like that. And I looked up some of the reasoning behind this track, and Petit Biscuit said that he never experienced anything like this in his real life. He came from a very privileged household and country, and so he felt that he wrote the song from the perspective of someone that was constantly hiding or having to take cover. And in that sense, I very much disagree with creating a song like that. Someone like myself, too, that is from a more privileged background from where I'm from and family-wise, I just feel like that you just don't write a song about that you don't try to put yourself in the shoes of someone that's experienced it because you have not experienced it. And I am so sure that it is substantially worse than I could have ever expected it to be. I just think that Petit Biscuit is minimalizing all of the emotional and physical trauma that's been caused by having to take cover from something in one way or another. And he does mean this very literally of like a war, not like just something about like a relationship. He is very much talking about that. And so I think he just, negates some of the damage that it's caused, and he doesn't really have a clear mindset when it comes to that and shouldn't really have created this track. But Constellation is a pretty unique cut on this project where the guitar solo kind of takes over for the chorus and the verses are their own thing. There's no lyrics in the actual drop or chorus. And in that sense, I do actually kind of like it. I really do love the guitar sound and playing here, but my only gripe is that it doesn't sound like it fits with the rest of the track. The guitar solo, the chorus, is this grandiose, epic moment. And then you kind of go into Petit Biscuit's vocals, and they're just this droopy, sad vocal performance that don't really match back and forth. There's also not like a huge build or denouement coming out of the either. And it just feels like it doesn't work that well. I love the guitar sound, but the rest of it is just, it's pretty meh. And speaking of meh, both the tracks of Driving Through the Night and Guana are just pretty average to okay for me. Driving Through the Night does sound like the title suggests. It sounds like a tropical house track that is built for listening to it while you're driving in the pitch dark of night. While Guana, like I said a little bit earlier in one of the other tracks, does sound like you're kind of adventuring through a jungle. So I mean, in those kind of atmospheric settings, they work. But I mean, other than that, they're nothing really new and or exciting, especially on just this project alone. I Leave Again with Shalou is easily a Sunset Lover Part 2. He's trying to replicate the commercial success of that track, this being the kind of debut big single from the project. And it's a good track. I enjoy it. Again, there's really nothing new happening, but I guess that's kind of the niche that Petit Biscuit built himself with the Whole Presence LP. And I do like that he added some lyrics from Shalou here, who does that kind of same atmospheric, moody music. And so I actually think this is a better version of Sunset Lover, even though it will never see as much commercial success as the original did. Hang On closes the album, and just like the first and title track, it sounds a lot like Flume. Seriously though, if I did a blind listen to this track, my guess is I probably would have said this is a new Flume track. I actually really enjoy it for what it's worth. And even though it doesn't sound a lot like Petit Biscuit normally does, or his overall style of production, I really do much enjoy it. It's got that shaker, the muted bass hits, and the muted triplet hi-hats, and I actually really love this track. It's so much more experimental than anything he's done, and it is easily my favorite on the project. Even though the last 20 seconds follow that classic indie trope of the raw acoustic-y sound, I still think the track is the best on the project. Overall, I think Petit Biscuit did a pretty good job transitioning from his own styles from Presence, his debut album, to this sophomore album in Parachute. Tracks like Parachute and Hang On were a little different stylistically than the rest of the project, and I would have loved to see those ideas more fleshed out in this individual album, and or just an EP, a smaller EP of just those kind of tracks. I don't think they really work stylistically or narratively with listening to the whole album front to back, but I really do actually just enjoy those songs for the most part. The whole thing really didn't feel like anything new in the EDM scene, and I know it's not really trying to be, but in that sense, it was pretty okay. And this does suffer from the classic EDM lyrics where they're pretty shallow, and I understand that they don't need to be, and the purpose of it is that upbeat feel-good where you can resonate with the lyrics pretty surfacely, pretty on a surface level. And so in that sense, it actually delivered on its purpose quite well. But as a final note, the songs are actually really easy to listen to, and I quite enjoyed just putting them on and having them either in the background and or just as I'm doing other things in the house. It does work really well as individual songs, and as a project as a whole, I'm not sure exactly. But I really did enjoy the purpose that they were created for. Petit Biscuit's Parachutes is going to score a 7. But thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Bowtied Media. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Did I really nail it with the score? Did I not? I really actually went back and forth on the 6 or 7. I wasn't sure, but this will definitely be my lowest 7 of the year. You can go see all of my reviews actually on albumoftheyear.org, I believe. It is in the description of this video below, and you can see all of the ratings that I have done this year and how they ranked against each other. But leave a like if you liked. I will see you guys in another video.